time to rise, and with all the raining hands, shaking fists and singing signs, Facebook acting worse than making plans. No one
It will be a great day today, and it's been a fantastic weekend so far, jammed packed with entertainment and celebrations as part of the Hooked on Portland Festival. And if any of you had the chance to be down on the foreshore last night, or you've seen the photos that have been on social media, you'll see that it's probably been one of the most amazing events that we've had for many, many years. So hopefully that celebration will continue. Australia Day, January the 26th, means different things to different people. And I think this pride in what it means to be Australian and the opportunities that we have to come together as a nation are captured beautifully by the words of the Victorian Australian of the Year, Mr. Archie Roach. Archie reflects on what it means to be taken away from family and country, and to have his identity stolen. If you could imagine what it would feel like to have your identity stolen, because at the end of the day, identity is all we have. Yet, Archie finds love and forgiveness in songs and storytelling, and encourages us all to reflect on what our meaning in life is, and how we can all make a difference and stand up for what is right and be respectful for each other. I therefore acknowledge the traditional owners of this land and pay my respects to elders past and present and emerging leaders here at today's gathering, and through them to all Aboriginal people. Thank you for joining us here today as the rain comes down, and probably reflective of the season that we've had. But I'd like to acknowledge our ambassador, Simon Lewis, and it'll be okay if you run for cover or get an umbrella, I don't mind. Oh, come a bit closer. I was going to say, what a true gentleman. And I was just about to announce him, so thank you very much. Note to event staff, marquee over lectern. I'd like to acknowledge the fellow councillors that are here, Councillor Deputy Mayor Chrissy Hawker, Gilbert Wilson, Jeff White, Councillor Robert Halliday is in Nelson, and Councillor Karen Stevens is in Casterton. Thank you to Melissa and Aaron for your entertainment during the breakfast, and to the Rotary Clubs of Portland and Portland Bay for the many volunteers who have helped this morning. And I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of the Rotary Clubs who over this weekend and today are raising funds for East Gippsland, and the money that they raise will be used in vouchers. And we know that when you keep your money in the local economy, it makes a very big difference. I'd also like to thank the people from 3RPC who are doing a live broadcast this morning. So those people that are listening, happy Australia Day. As I look out across this foreshore, it reminds me how lucky we are to be safe and sound and to have escaped relatively unharmed by the ferocious fires that have enraged this country. And I acknowledge the amazing efforts of those who have battled to assist those in need, to protect homes and lives and animals. It does truly amplify the Australian spirit of supporting each other in hard times. And thank you to all of those who have raised funds to assist those in need. So we're now going to move to one of the important reasons why we're here, and that's to officially welcome new citizens with the Australian Citizenship Ceremony. I will now call forward to the stage 8 citizens who I have the utmost pleasure in conferring as newest citizens today. I welcome their family and friends who are here today with them on this special occasion. If these people could come forward, please. Ms. Chi Boyer, Tina Boyer, Rimertos Dart, Anasita Grime, Sindra Imitaz, Patricia G. Bart, Alistair McDonald, and Joan Ryan. If you could come forward, please. More umbrellas next year as well, I think. While these people are gathering on the stage, as my official duty, I will read an excerpt from the message from the Minister of Immigration and Citizenship, Migrant Services and Multicultural Affairs, the Honourable David Coleman MP. Our history and culture has been forged over thousands of years with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people. Australia has succeeded as a nation by embracing these values. We believe in freedom in the law, in the rule of law, and treating people equal regardless of their cultural background. We have overcome world wars and we have stood in the face of floods and fires, and we stand strong here today in this democratic country to fight the freedoms. Today's ceremony is one of many ceremonies that have been held around the country as part of Australia Day celebrations. In fact, we have 2 Australian citizenship ceremonies being held in the Glenelg Shire. There is another one currently being conducted in Casterton with 2 people who are undertaking citizenship, and the CEO, Mr. Greg Burgoyne, is overseeing those procedures. Becoming an Australian citizen is a step that shows loyalty to Australia and the desire to share a common future. This morning's ceremony will see 8 people stand before you, their family and friends, to pledge their loyalty to Australia in accordance with the Australian Citizen Act 2007. Australian citizenship represents full and formal membership of the community of the Commonwealth of Australia and Australian citizens and the common bond that we share, involving reciprocal rights and obligations, uniting all Australians while respecting their diversity. Persons of whom Australian citizenship is conferred enjoy these rights and undertake these obligations. To pledge loyalty to Australia and its people, to share our democratic belief, to respect our rights and liberties, and to uphold and obey the laws of Australia. I will now ask the people who are taking Pledge 1 to repeat after me at the same time. From this time forward, under God, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. I now ask Alistair McDonald to step forward and to repeat after me Pledge 2. I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in welcoming our new Australian citizens. Give them a round of applause. We are now going to stand and sing the national anthem. And I welcome Melissa, who's going to come forward and assist us with that. I also welcome the T.S. Henty Australian Naval Cadets who will be raising our flags today. So you're most welcome to turn and face the flags. I now invite you to join us.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath our radiant Southern Cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who've come across the seas, with boundless plains to share, with courage let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you very much, Melissa. You can now be seated and we'll invite our new citizens to return. Thank you. It's one of the greatest privileges, Mayor, to be able to conduct that service. And it was also most joyous to hear the returns of very Australians, g'day. Council is also privileged to participate in the Australia Day Victoria Ambassador Program. Australia Day ambassadors are high-achieving and proud Australians who attend local Australia Day celebrations across the nation, and today's ambassador is truly amazing. We welcome Simon Lewis as our ambassador, who has been a figure of international leadership in the life-saving community. Among his career achievements, he has trained lifeguards in Mexico, guiding refugee rescue operations off the coast of Libya and spearheading a campaign to provide resources for a jet ski rescue team in Greece. Simon became a finalist for the Australian of the Year Victorian Local Hero in 2017 and was awarded an International Life-Saving Federation Merit in 2016. His actions were acknowledged with honourable mention in both the Commonwealth and the Victorian Parliament. Simon's other community contributions include raising funds of over $30,000 for life-saving causes, and he also appears as the face of Life Savings Foundation Australia Day appeal, raising over $200,000. In 2014, Simon ran 8 marathons in 5 months in every state and territory of Australia for the Indigenous Marathon Project. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Simon Lewis.
Well, I guess it's my time to speak, and I've got a lot to follow, and hopefully the rain stays away. I'd like to acknowledge the Indigenous owners and past, present and emerging leaders. I come from the Uwillam clan of the Blurring Nation in the Kulin, member of the Kulin Nation, and with that, it has taught me that where I am, I get to be privileged enough to speak, but I also get to be privileged enough to learn about the history. And, you know, I'm a humanitarian. I've been around the world, but I still have that Peter Allen song in me. You know, I still call Australia home. And why is that? Why on Australia Day, you know, when we have ambassadors, we have mayors, we have new citizens, you know, what's that community spirit? What is that essence about being home? Last night, I saw the pride in the community. I saw everyone embracing John Stevens on that stage and having a wonderful time. You know, the community got together and I saw people on date night, I saw kids running amok, I saw teenagers enjoying UDLs and a lot of wonderful other things that, all passion pop. But I did see, you know, this community spirit, this local a gathering of love, and it was just such an amazing thing. And, you know, when you gave it to John, you know, he gave it back, and that support in that community. You know, no matter how much money you had, what religion you were, what creed or where you came from, together as a community last night, you embraced the local kind of spirit. And, you know, I didn't see anyone bored. I didn't see anyone, you know, kind of being disappointed. But all I saw was people enjoying themselves. And again, you know, in the community, no matter where you travel, you know, why do you still call Portland home? And I think last night represented that. You know, it was such a wonderful evening, and it was such an amazing experience to be a part of. So congratulations, because you don't see that in many communities. In 2014, I ran 8 marathons in 5 months, a ridiculous kind of undertaking. I was 90 kilos, but essentially, after 336 kilometres, I got to see every major city of Australia, and I got to see people achieving goals. And, you know, they weren't all the fit, athletic people. There were people running their first marathon. So a marathon is 42 kilometres, and you have to be really committed. You have to have purpose. And, you know, it's not all about the time. Thank God on the medals, they don't put your time on the back, because hopefully in old age, I'd actually just know how I achieved it, not what time I got, because time's a thing with runners. So having learnt how to run, having learnt how to make a commitment, having learnt how to find purpose, I had to actually do it. And having an idea, actioning it, doing it, and learning from it is what we all can do. No matter what you come from or no matter what you are fearing of, you can go and run a marathon and achieve it. Or you can walk it, because at the end of the day, you still get the same medal. So it's very easily to get that goal and get that achievement. I did it for the Indigenous Marathon Project. The Indigenous Marathon Project was done by fellow Australian Day Ambassador Rob de Castella. And obviously Rob's had a running career, but what he focused on was you keep your head where your feet are. In other words, don't overthink, just try. And marathons and taking the biggest problems you can achieve with small steps, one step after the other, to get to the finish line. And that's that kind of embodiment that we all do every day. We wake up, we take steps, we achieve little goals, and then at the end, there's a bigger picture, whether you started on the journey to become an Australian citizen. Well, today you've just achieved, and now you've got your medal, but it's only the beginning. There are many more things that you can do and contribute, and maybe one day you end up in the Australia Day Awards or as an Australia Day ambassador speaking to many communities. But for me, my journey is very simple. I started in school. I had no idea what I was doing in school. I kind of finished, and then I went, okay, well, what am I going to do next? So I thought I might become a cop, and I did a Diploma of Justice Administration. No idea why I did that, but I needed a diploma because I wanted to get a job. So I thought I was going to work in the courts. Didn't really like it at the end of the day. So I went, okay, I'll go to uni. So I did a Bachelor of Arts in Media and Culture and Marketing. No idea why I really wanted to do it, but I just did it because I thought I needed a degree. And so I've got these degrees, I've got diplomas, and I'm not really using them, so I just went, I'll go do a job. What can I do? And so I started lifesaving, and then I started lifeguarding, and then I started ocean life saving, and then I started working in search and rescue. Just as a job. I had no idea where it was going to take me or why it was going to be a bigger picture later in my life. But what came together was I saw an image of a drowned Syrian boy called Alan Kurdi that was all over the news. And I said to myself, that kid has 2 arms and 2 legs. And yet I save people. And he's just a human. Why am I not helping save people in the Syrian refugee crisis? So, my Diploma of Justice. When I went to Greece, I had to follow international law. I got to read all the big words. I knew what all the big words were. Diploma of Justice came in handy. I had the media, I had CNN, I had the front cover of The Age, I had all the media coming for me. Bachelor of Arts, Media and Culture, I knew how to speak to them. I knew how to give it together and give them a story that actually was not about me. I was just the narrator of their story. And so I painted pictures of what the people went through to go to freedom. And that also allowed me to get donations. And so I got 30,000. I wanted just a trip, just to get to the Lesvos, which is in the Greek islands. It's between Turkey and Greece, and it's the shortest route. It's about 10, 11 kilometres on a journey across the ocean. So the people who were escaping the war were taking this journey for freedom. They were putting themselves in boats, up to 80 per boat, with fake life jackets sold by smugglers, full of box wrapping, styrofoam, and other things, but packaged on the outside to look professional and to look like a legitimate one you'd buy at Burke Marine. But when you sink in the water, it takes 30 seconds to drown. In Australia, it was taking 18 seconds for them. So 18 seconds is what they have. And when they're escaping, you've got to remember, you take all your gear with you. So you sink very fast. Again, I learnt life-saving. What do we have in life-saving? We have jet skis, we have boats. And so when I ended up getting a lot more money than I had thought of, I went, how can I solve this problem? How can I go from 18 second, how can I solve this 18-second thing? Because there was medical containers, MSF, Doctors Without Borders were there. So I simply applied the fastest way possible. And what we do in Lifesaving Victoria is we have different jet ski teams. So I built a rapid response team. It was taking 10 minutes to launch a boat and to be on the scene to assess and save up to 100 people. With the jet skis, we got it down to 3 minutes. So going from 18 seconds, we were able to make it out to about 25 seconds because of the rapid response where we could put floats and save their lives. Now, I used every bit of random knowledge that I've learnt through many communities, through schooling, through diplomas and that, to just apply my skills to the world. You know, whether you're a lifesaver in a surf lifesaving club, you're part of the SES, you're a St John's ambulance person, you work for council, you're a plumber. And that's the other thing, being in a humanitarian crisis, you don't need to be a lifesaver to save a life. The guy who digs the toilet saves more lives than the actual people in the front line, because health and sanitation is all about making sure everyone is not spreading disease and is actually being in an environment that allows for them to move on and be processed and go forward. But I wasn't done, because what I learned is that when you help one group of people, you're open to helping everyone. And so then I saw the African refugee crisis, and then I went to being off the coast of Libya. And that in itself is its own beast of the worst of humanity and the best of humanity. Simply, you have people who are going in the ocean, going 50 kilometres until they run out of fuel on a compass bearing, and just sitting there waiting for rescue. Needle in a haystack. And sadly, thousands upon thousands of people have died. But when they wake up in the morning, they make a single choice. Today, I've got a 50-50 chance of survival and a 50-50 chance of making a difference for the lives of my children and the lives of my family. Why would you not risk it? So they do. And sadly, we can't save everyone, but when we do save people, they say thank you with a handshake and they look you in the eye, they nod, and not a single word is spoken, but you understand the message that they deliver. You know, I was lucky I was able to rescue 1,906 people, more people than this crowd today. But the crowd today is essentially what we saw on one boat on the 26th of December. 891 people on a three wooden boat sitting 60 kilometres off Libya, just hoping for rescue, taking on water and sinking. But the thing is that I was an Australian working for a German NGO with a Spanish rescue crew off the coast of Libya, controlled by the Italians, rescuing Africans who can speak French. Now that complex mess is certainly what Australia is. We have many cultures, we are multicultural, but being Australian taught me how to learn that Spain is made up of two countries, Basque Country and the rest of Spain. And don't get it, they're very, very passionate about it. But even that, you know, what we've learnt in Australia, what we've learnt in our communities, is that you can engage with the French person. You can engage with the Spaniard. You can engage with the Italian, the German. Because every day, it doesn't care what your background is. You know, you make a difference to be engaged with each other. Whether it is buying that, you know, German sausage or buying the, you know, the pork roll or buying, you know, from Aldi, Coles, Woolworths. You know, it's not where we come from. It's how we use it to be part of our lives. And that's why the whole journey of rescuing people, the whole journey of using my skills, I simply started as a lifesaver. I simply started going to school, and I simply did just simple things that resulted in bigger achievements. But the bigger achievements only came from just achieving things every day. The whole journey has taught me humanity is seen by many, but it is only actioned by some. You can all be that action, and I've seen it in that community last night. Whether you were there to be part of the inspiration and inspire John, or you were there to support the fellow council, the councillors, the mayor, the CEO, and the wonderful volunteers who actually have made the Hooked on Portland a very wonderful event. But whatever you do, you can change the world by taking those small steps. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Simon. It's always enjoyable to hear our ambassadors talk and reflect on the difference that they've made to other people. So I'd like to present Simon with a gift in appreciation.
Big gift.
So we're just going to, before we move on to the awards, we're going to invite Melissa back, and we're going to hope, Simon, that there is a 50-50 chance of us not getting wet. So I'll hand over to you, Melissa. Thank you.
I've been to cities that never closed down, from New York to Rio and old London town. But no matter how far or how wide I roam, I still call Australia home. I'm always traveling, I love being free, and so I keep leaving the sun and the sea. But my heart lies waiting over the foam. I still call Australia home. All the sons and daughters spin around the world, away from their families and friends. And as the world gets harder and colder again, good to know where your journey ends. And someday we'll all be together once more, when all of the ships come back to the shore. And I realize something I've always known, I still call Australia home. But no matter how far or how wide I roam, I still call Australia. I still call Australia. I still call Australia
Thank you, Melissa. I think everything's coming together, as Simon said. Was that planned? And I think no, it's just it's the way it is, isn't it? It reflects on why we're here in that community spirit that you talked about. So we're now going to move on to some more community spirit with the Australia Day Awards. An important part of Australia Day is to recognise and celebrate our local community and volunteers. Last year, we undertook a long and broad campaign that started tomorrow on calling for nominations for the current year. In the categories of Community Group of the Year, Senior Citizen of the Year, Young Citizen of the Year, and Citizen of the Year. And I'd also like to acknowledge last year's recipients who may be here today as well and thank them for their contribution that they've made. Selection of the awards was undertaken from the Advisory Committee based on people's and groups' exceptional contribution to our community. We are proud to present these awards as they acknowledge individuals who have made an outstanding contribution and a positive difference, as you talked about, Simon, in our community. So we're now going to move on to the announcement of the Community Group of the Year for the Glenelg Shire. The recipients of this award have provided service to seafarers visiting the Port of Portland for over 50 years. 8,000 seafarers have visited Portland each year on 350 vessels with a minimum stay of 3 to 7 days. This community group is open every day of the year and supports the welfare of seafarers under the Maritime Convention Bill of Rights. Doctors, medical people, and providing healthcare. They take over 5,000 bus trips annually and are run by a team of dedicated 20 volunteers as part of this program. They are a non-profit organisation and receive no government funding. Congratulations to the members of the Flying Angel Portland Inc., or commonly known the Mission to Seafarers. I invite you to come to the stage to collect your award. Congratulations. I'm going to invite Simon to participate and hand over the awards to Neville and members of the Mission to Seafarers, make the presentation, and if you'd like to come forward and make some comments, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Rank and councillors, and to Simon. Your speech was very inspiring, something similar to what Mission to Seafarers does, where we are dealing with overseas seafarers, not necessarily Australians. So I've written a little response here, so I hope you don't mind. It will take a couple of seconds to read through. So thank you on behalf of our wonderful, hard-working and generous volunteers, new and old, some who are here today, the Orange Army, and my wife and family for putting up with my absences for the past 15 years. I also want to acknowledge past volunteers, managers, chaplains and committee members. Some of our volunteers have been volunteering at the mission for over 25 years. Also the generous support from the Port of Portland, in particular Jim Cooper and current CEO Greg Treneman. When 5 years ago I met with Jim and Greg, I said the mission could not survive. The property here in Cliff Street had been sold from under us. We lost our main source of revenue leasing the property. We were trading insolvent, and you bent over backwards to help us financially to secure our port shuttle service and to continue to provide a premises inside the port for the mission to operate. I wish to thank the previous chaplain, Padre Roy Hope, for his vision in relocating the mission inside the port, a move that has been very successful in terms of the changing ways that ships operate, fast turnaround and the increase in number of seafarers that visit the centre. Thanks to the respect that Roy established, we are very lucky to have such great support from the churches, local businesses, shipping agencies, customs, quarantine, pilots, port workers and the general community. This is not the case in other missions in Australia and around the world. I know there will be some critics that will say that we support seafarers, not locals or Australians, rather than international seafarers from countries around the world. So let me say this on Australia Day. The mission has operated in Portland for over 50 years. Without seafarers, you would not be wearing the clothes you have, the food that you eat, the TV that you watch. Over 95% of trade is handled by a seafarer. The port and associated industries, such as the timber industry, has grown to be one of the largest employers and would not be so without seafarers. The mission receives no government funding. So why do we do what we do? Because it's the Aussie thing to help your mate, regardless of who you are or where you come from, no matter of your religion, your race or your creed. The Flying Angel logo is recognised around the world and is highly regarded as a welfare agency that fights for the basic human rights of seafarers. Thankfully, we don't see near the problems that seafarers face here in Australia of abandonment, unpaid wages, piracy, seaworthiness of vessels, lack of food and other issues. Seafarers are the lowest paid, hardest workers, away from their family for up to 9 months per year in a foreign country. Seafarers are very much a part of our community and spend money in our local businesses. We were pleased to hold the Regional National Conference here in Portland in 2017, with 50 delegates attending from around Australia, New Zealand, Fiji and London, which was a huge success and showcased all that Portland has to offer. We are proud to be part of your community and have supported the cruise ship visits, coordinated the blessing of the fleet as part of the Upwelling Festival, and support other community organisations such as the Navy Cadets and the Volunteer Coast Guard. Portland Mission has also established partnerships to support other much smaller Australian missions, Hastings and Port Giles, and we're excited to have just entered a partnership with Monrovia in Libya, Africa. So when you see a seafarer in town, stop and say, "G'day, how are you going? Can I help you, mate?" They are just like you and I, working to make a living and to help their families. Thank you.
Congratulations and well spoken. Thank you very much. It now gives me great pleasure to announce the 2020 Glenelg Shire Senior Citizen of the Year. The recipient of this award has shown selfless contributions to the local Portland community for over 6 decades. Her volunteerism over this time has spread over humanitarian and social improvement in the church, sporting groups, education for young and older adults. Currently, the recipient donates her time to the Portland Netball Association as President and Secretary, Portland University Third Age Treasurer, the No Interest Loan Scheme Committee Member, L2P Driving Program, the Portland South School Breakfast Club, and Reading Coordinator. She gives much of her time that enriches many others. It would be difficult to substantiate the impact that she has had to this community, the organisations she's involved in, and the growth that she has provided to those groups. The endurance of her generosity is clear, and we acknowledge and congratulate the Glenelg Shire Senior Citizen of the Year, Cheryl Ford.
I don't know how you got all that information. Wow. Madam Mayor, councillors, fellow Australians, happy Australia Day. I want to thank Glenelg Shire Council for making this award possible. I don't know where you dug up all that information. I thank my nominator, Emma Van Smale. I thank my amazing husband, Alan, for his love and encouragement and not too much grumbling. I love volunteering. I hope that I've made a difference in people's lives. Certainly it has to mine. I've met some wonderful people, made lasting friendships, and best of all, I'm never bored. Thank you.
It now gives me great pleasure to announce the 2020 Glenelg Shire Young Citizen of the Year. The recipient of this award is a strong All Abilities Ambassador. In 2016, she started a competition for our All Abilities and Equal Access playground on the Portland foreshore with over 4,000 signatures, and I will have much joy in opening that very, very shortly. This resulted in a positive outcome for the development of this space. The recipient also campaigned for access at the Portland aquatic facilities, where we were able to install a wheelchair carousel, and also at the Hayward Playground, which was supported by the Variety Club. The recipient's dedication to the All Abilities advocacy has assisted in providing more opportunities for people with disabilities and their family and their carers to participate in activities throughout this community. Would you please put your hands together in congratulating and acknowledging Macy Lee Reeves. Give her a big round of applause. Macy Lee did decide to decline to speak, which surprises me because she has a lot to say when she needs to advocate, especially when it's to parliamentarians. And I remember her not letting Darren Hinch go when he was here to advocate for access to the foreshore. So congratulations on your efforts. It now gives me great pleasure to announce the 2020 Glenelg Shire Citizen of the Year. This person has also contributed over 60 years. A quieter achiever, described as humble with a generous spirit, is always there to lend a hand with a chainsaw or donating machinery, whether it be for roads, at no cost to clubs and churches without any hesitation. He is a recipient he has been a member of the Glenorchy Estate CFA and has been a member and captain for that organisation for over 50 years, having received a life membership with the brigade. He's been involved in a number of clubs and community organisation and is a member of the Merino P&A Society for over 50 years. He's involved with the Parish Council for over 40 years and has been a Digby Merino Lions Club member for 21 years, mostly as the chairperson. He's currently the chairperson of the Merino Cemetery Trust and he's been involved in that organisation for 15 years. The 2020 Senior Citizen of the Year is Mr. Keith Millard, and Keith is receiving his award in Casterton this morning. Would you please put your hands together to acknowledge and congratulate Keith? I'm just trying to find where you are, Melissa. Yes, the sun has come out, which is fantastic. We're going to move towards closing the ceremony, so I'm just going to invite Melissa back to the stage for one last time. And if you've got your flags handy, I'd encourage you to wave them around as we conclude today's ceremony. Over to you, Melissa.
I'm a daughter of a digger who sought the mother lode. The girl became a woman on the long and dusty road. I'm a child of the Depression, and I saw the good times come. I'm a pushy, I'm a battler, I am Australia. And we are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We'll share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia. I'm a teller of stories, I'm a singer of the song. I am Albert and I'm a Giro, and I paint the ghostly gums. I am Clancy on his horse, I'm Ned Kelly on the run. I'm the one who wants Matilda, I am Australia. I'm the hot wind from the desert, I'm the black soil of the plains, I'm the mountains and the valleys, I'm the drought and flooding rains. I am the rock, I am the sky, I'm the rivers when they run, I'm the spirit of this great land, I am Australia. When you sing with me, we are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We'll share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia. We are one, and we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We'll share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia. I am, you are, we are Australia.
Thank you, Melissa. That was beautiful. So that brings to close the official ceremony of what is the Australia Day weekend. I thank you all for attending and that hope you've enjoyed today and the weekend's celebration. The words of the song, "We are one, but we are many, and we can make a difference," I think has been reflected in all the presentations today, especially Simon. I thank you very much for your contribution and choosing us to come here and spend your weekend here. Simon will be heading out to Hayward at 2 o'clock for their service as well. With that, I'd like to thank all the volunteers and the entertainers who have helped put on today, but also the weekend. Like you, I'm a very proud Glenelg Shire person. I'm very proud to be mayor of this shire. I thank my fellow councillors and their family. I thank the staff at the Glenelg Shire who go above and beyond to put on events, to be here on New Year's Eve, on Australia Day, on Anzac Day. I'd like to acknowledge and thank Sharon Bridgewater and Kylie Walford. I'd like to thank the staff and the guys from the Portland Party Hire who have been run off their feet this weekend in support of the activities and the vision that we have to make this a vibrant community. I thank so much the guys from the Naval Cadets who are heading off now. Gary, thank you so much. You've been a great help to me this weekend, and it hasn't finished. I'd also like to thank 3RPC for doing a live broadcast, and happy Australia Day to everyone listening. Thank you to Brian and Jason for always making us sound good. And you've got a busy afternoon as well, because it hasn't finished. The music is about to kick off again, and we're going to celebrate this wonderful weekend, this wonderful community, and this wonderful Shire. Thank you very much, everyone. All the award recipients, if you could come back up to the front for the photo opportunity for the media.